Okay, so today then we're going to move on to another thing, and it's called a universal set. So universal set is a set that contains all elements under consideration. So every set is a subset of the universal set. So in the Venn diagram, universal set is represented by a rectangle. So the letter U is used to denote universal set. So it represents the following on a Venn diagram. Okay, so the only difference from what we were doing the last day with filling into a Venn diagram is when you have a universal set, it has to be a rectangle, we'll say has to be around it. So the first thing you do is you just draw your rectangle and you label that with a big U, which would be for the universal set. So then you see what are your two sets that you're actually talking about, and we're dealing with a set A and a set B. So we actually have two sets within the Venn diagram. So we just draw our two circles for that. So then we draw one circle and one circle to represent the sets. Okay, so that would be your A and that would be your B. So just like the last time, the first thing that we have to do is we have to fill in the intersection parts. Remember, the intersection part is what is common to the two sets. So you look at A is 2, 3 and 4. And then if you look at B has 4, 5 and 6. So we can clearly see what is common to both sides is the 4s. So we have a 4 here and a 4 here. So I'm going to fill in the 4 into the intersection part. Okay, so then we just have to fill in the rest of A. So we know that A represents all of this. So I have 4 already. So what's left is the 2 and the 3. So then we just simply write in the 2 and the 3. And the exact same with B. B, what is left is the 5 and the 6. Okay, so now I've done my A and I have done my B. Okay, so they are done. So then universal set represents all the elements under consideration. So you have to go back then and see, is there any part of the full universal set that they gave you, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there any element that we have not accounted for? Well, I have a 2, so I'll just cross out the ones that we have. So we've used the 2, we've used the 3, we've used the 4, we used the 5, and we used the 6. So they're gone. So the only 2 that's left that we haven't done is a 1 and a 7. Okay, so they're not part of A, so they can't go into this circle, and they're not part of B, okay, so they can't go into this set, but they're a part of the universal set, which is the whole diagram now, including the rectangle part. So it can't go into A and B, so it has to go outside it. So then we just fill in then our remaining ones that we haven't counted for, which is our 1 and our 7. So that's how you do a universal set. So remember, the first thing that you have to do is you have to draw your two sets. Okay, you have to fill in the intersection part, then you have to fill in the remainder part of A, the remainder part of B, and then you go back to your universal set and see what elements have you not filled in. And then they go on the outside, okay, of the sets, but within the rectangle. So they're out of the circles, out of the sets, but they are within the rectangle. Okay, so next thing that you have to do is you have to learn about the complement. Okay, so the complement of a set A is a set of elements in a universal set that are not elements of A. So they're not elements of A. The complement of a set A is denoted by an A with a little dash above it. So this is another new symbol now that you have to learn and that you have to put into your copybooks. In the given diagram, A complement, okay, is the region coloured yellow. Okay, so we'll just do another example here then. Okay, so it says represent this on a Venn diagram. So we know for a Venn diagram, we draw our rectangle. We have to label a big U for the universal set. I have two sets, A and B. So I'll just draw my two circles and label it A and B. Remember, the first part we have to fill in is the intersection part. So you should be very familiar with these ones. So 2, 3, 4 and 4, 5, 6. So we can clearly see what's common in both of them is the 4. So the 4 will be crossed out, with the 4 will be crossed out here. So the 4. Then we have to fill in the remainder of A. So the remainder of A was 2 and 3. And then we have the remainder of B we have to do left. So the remainder of B is 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 goes here. So then we have to go back, okay, because we know that the universal set is the whole Venn diagram, okay, and say have we a 1. So we've no 1, so he must go outside. We've counted for the 2, so the 2 is here, okay. We have a 3, we have a 4, we have a 5, we have a 6, but we don't have a 7 or an 8. So make sure that they go outside. So the next part then that they asked you to do there then, let's move it up to the room. They asked us to do, list the elements of A union B complement. Okay, so A union B complement is everything that's outside of A and B. So it's not in A and B. So A union B complement in this set then would be 1, 7 and 8. So it's all that is out of A union B complement. Everything that is outside of A union B. Okay, so then just going on these ones again. So now we have A complement, B complement, A union B complement. Then they want us to find A intersection B and A intersection B complement. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we'll do A complement. Okay, so remember A complement is everything outside of A. So if you just highlight your A, remember A is all this section here. So it's A, D, E, and B. So that's all gone. So we're dealing with then the remainder of B here and then what's outside here. So going by alphabet order then we'll have C. Okay, so it will be C, F, G, I, J, and K. So that's A complement. That's all the values outside of A. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then just make sure you put your little commas in between each one. Okay, so the next one then that we're going to do is B complement. Okay, so B complement means everything outside of B. Okay, so this is B, so we don't count it, it's everything outside it. So it's all these guys. So it's B, C, E, K, and J. So it was B, B, C, E, J, and K. Okay, the next one then they asked us for A union B, so we should be familiar now with that, guys. So remember A union B is everything in A and B, so all of it. So we'll just write it down from the last day we were doing that. So that's A, B, E, F, G, and I. Okay. So the next one then that they asked us for here, I just move this up. They asked us for A union B complement. So A union B complement. So again, that complement here means everything outside of A union B. So it's everything outside of it. So we're not counting A union B. So it's everything outside it. So everything outside it would be C, K, and J. Remember to do your chain brackets. Okay, next one then, they want A intersection B. So A intersection B, you should be very familiar with that. That's just where the two sets interlink. Okay, so it's A and D. So that would be my A and D. And then the last one, they want A intersection B complement. So remember, this complement means everything that is outside of A intersection B. So we're not counting A and D. So then you're left with boop, write it better, get rid of that guy. So that you can understand what I'm doing. So then it's everything outside of the intersection. So that would give me B, C, I don't count D, I have an E, an F, a G, a H, we don't have a H, an I, J, and K. Okay, and then we'll just do one more. Then it says that universal set is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. A is 1, 3, 5, 7. B is 3, 4, 5, 6. List the elements of A complement, B complement, A union B, and A union B complement. So I think when they always say to list it, it's easier to do a Venn diagram. So remember, fill in the U, then we draw our two sets, the A and the B. Remember now, you should be familiar, the first part that we have to do is the intersection part. So looking at the tree list of A is 1, 3, 5, 7. B is 3, 4, 5, 6. What they have in common is 3 and 5. So 3 and 5 will go in there. So cross out the 3 and the 5, cross out the 3 and the 5. So what have I left in the A is 1 and 7. What is left in the B, 4 and 6. So you can clearly see then the sets be easier than writing it out, than trying to figure it out. So the last thing that we have to go universal set. So I've done it with 1, there is no 2. I've done a 3, done a 4, there is a 5, there's a 6, there's a 7, there's no 8, 9 and 10. So they all go outside. So A complement then again, so just go through that again. A complement means everything outside of A. Okay, so you just see that. So A complement is everything outside of A. So you cover up all of A. So what you left with 2. So you left with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Next one is B complement. So B complement, remember, is everything outside of B. Okay, so everything outside of it. So B complement then would be 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Next one then, they asked you for A union B. Okay, so we know that A union B is everything in A and B. So it's everything in here. So that would be 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then they has A union B complement, which is the opposite. So this little guy that means complement means everything outside of A union B. So then we're just dealing with these guys here, which is 2, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so remember, if you have the little dash here, it means complement, which means everything outside of A. Okay, so everything outside of A. If it's B complement, it means everything outside of B. You don't count anything inside of B. And remember that B is the whole set here. Okay, you tend to always put in the 3 and the 5. Remember, B is the whole set there.